Hello, Internet. This is Whispering Whim, bringing you another food haul today. Can you believe that it is October already? I know I can hardly believe it. But a new month does mean more groceries, so let's go ahead and get started. First up, some generic taco mix and some zesty herb marinade mix and some corn tortillas to go with those tacos. You may know I like to fry them up nice and fresh. I think it's way better than getting the pre-made kind in a box, right? Next up, we have some nacho cheese popcorn mix. It's been kind of a recent obsession that I have been making flavored popcorns. Last month, I believe I bought a ranch shaker mix, and I actually haven't used it for popcorn, but it's mostly gone. There's like this much left. And what I discovered is that it's really tasty on a certain vegetable mix that I do. I like to fry up some bacon and then use the bacon oil to fry up the rest of my vegetables. And when you add a little bit of ranch powder to it, it kind of gives it that extra bit of pizzazz. But we did try kind of an interesting popcorn flavor. I have truffle salt that I bought at like a fancy spice shop. And I did truffle salt, some paprika, and then just olive oil. And it was very like hearty. It was a very savory popcorn. And my guy ended up liking it quite a bit. So we'll probably do that flavor again. But in the meantime, maybe this will be for vegetables. Maybe it'll be for popcorn. Next up, we have some maple glazed pecan sea salt kind bars. These are kind of a guilty pleasure while I'm dieting. They still have a bit of sugar in them, but they have fiber and it's not very processed, but it is pretty expensive. Kind bars are definitely more in the treat category than an everyday snack. Next up, we have a box of bow tie pasta. Sometimes when I'm trying to make a meal that works for me and my guy, I'll, saute vegetables and chicken and whatever else, right? And then I'll throw his in some pasta or, serve it with bread or whatnot. And that makes it filling for him. And I can kind of control how much I cook, right? So that I don't eat it as well. And then kind of wedged in the corner here, we have some sesame crackers. And after that, let's go ahead and get this big guy from the top here, is some beets. I really enjoy roasting beets in the oven. A little bit of olive oil. If you're feeling fancy, you can do like truffle oil with a little bit of like herbs. And if you're really, really feeling fancy afterwards, you can top it with Parmesan cheese. But usually I'm not that fancy. And then after that is some protein bars. And these are the boy-approved ones because they're like a third of the cost as my fancy kind bars, but they have protein and nuts and everything to kind of make his lunches last a little bit longer, right? Try to make sure all his snacky things are filling. And then it looks like we have some lemons after that. These are really great when you do like foil packets with the chicken in the oven. You can just slice the the lemon and put it right in there, although I usually zest it first and then slice it, kind of give it that extra bit of impact. Continuing right along, we have a rather large box of fudge dipped Oreos, and these are for my guy, but I confess that every once in a while I take a packet of them because they're very tasty, and because there's so little in there, like, it's not good for you. But 19 grams of carbohydrate is definitely not the worst snack I could eat if I'm feeling impulsive, right? But hopefully most of these will go into his lunch, not mine. While we're talking about lunches, I've also got Triscuits, which is an ever classic for him, and a new flavor of Cheez-It. This is jalapeno and cheddar jack. I do really enjoy actually the pepper jack flavor, but my man, he likes to explore new flavors a lot more than I would have thought. When I first started dating him, he would eat frozen burritos and frozen pizza for almost every meal, and he'd always order like chicken tenders or a hamburger at restaurants. So I must have rubbed off on him, because now he orders different things, and of course he likes to change up his chips, and he actually gives me quite honest critiques on my meals that I make, which is mostly appreciated. And every once in a while I'm like, really? You've gotten too spoiled. I made hamburgers the other day, but I had the pre-cooked ballpark patties. You know, not excellent quality, but something fast and easy, right? Well, he noticed that it wasn't like fresh hamburger patties. And he's like, they were good, but... And I was like, oh man, I've created a monster. Anyways, in my hand here is a jar of pickles, a nice low-calorie snack for me. And rounding out the bottom of this bag, we've got some white beans, because white bean chili is kind of a classic. It's always in the rotation, right? I make it quite often. And then I also picked up some toasted sesame seeds. As I mentioned, I cook a lot of vegetables for myself now. And sometimes I just kind of want to spruce up the flavor a little bit, because the whole bacon and fried vegetable thing is delicious, but it can get repetitive every once in a while. Off to the side here, I have some truly hard seltzer. This is now my alcoholic drink of choice because it has 0 carbs in it. Well, this one has 1 gram of sugar, but it's still not bad. Of course, alcohol is empty calories, so I should try not to drink too many of them, but as long as I include those calories in my daily count, it's a very nice treat, and I enjoy a little bit of alcohol, right? We'll go ahead and jump into my Daiso bag next, which still needs a little TLC. I haven't done it. It's been like 2 months now since I noticed that it was ripping. But I don't know, I've been busy. And the first thing in my Daiso bag is some Mother's Circus Animal cookies. This is a nostalgic flavor. Definitely terrible for you. Let's see here. 150 calories, 20 grams of carbohydrate, and that's for 7 cookies. I feel like in my youth I would have eaten this whole bag at once. But this bag technically has 11 servings in it. But I thought it'd be fun to kind of spruce up my guy's lunch. I'm guilty of buying him like pink and girly things to put in there, and he doesn't mind. He knows that I kind of get a kick out of it, which makes it good for him too. On the pink train, we've got some mini strawberry donuts. These are for him to eat when I'm not around. I usually work on Sundays and he has them off, so this is his breakfast on Sundays. And he does get spoiled. He usually gets like bacon and eggs and apple slices and things like that on Saturday. Also in the spruce up the lunch category, they're not very cost effective, right? I think it's like $4 for one box. It only has 5 servings in there. But he gets a lot of granola bars. He gets a lot of like, nut bars in general because I want to add some protein. And he doesn't like to have like deli meats. He's very against cold protein. It's weird. But this has some nuts and some fiber and all sorts of things that will help round out his lunch and just add in a little bit of variety, even though it's still nuts. It's, different kind of nut. Along that same kind of thought process, I have some hummus. For those who don't know, hummus is made from chickpeas, and it actually has a fair amount of protein for a dipping sauce. This particular brand only has 2 grams of protein, but it also has fiber and potassium, iron, just a few little good things that come from eating legumes. And it's tasty to dip carrots in it, for me anyways. He doesn't like the texture difference. He'd rather have like a crunchy chip. But this is a nice little treat for both of us, I guess is the moral of the story. Getting towards the bottom of this bag now, we have some heavy things, which namely is 2 cans of chicken noodle soup. The weather is getting a little chilly, and I usually get sick at least once every winter, so it's good to have some backup soup in the house. Even if I don't plan on eating it, I end up eating it at some point. Another heavy thing in this bag is a 6-pack of Dead Guy Ale. This is my guy's favorite beer, and it's a little pricey, but I feel like, because he rations his pretty well, this will probably last almost a whole month, that he deserves a few nice things once in a while, right? And last but not least, for our Daiso bag, we've got some triple cheese. I used to buy Parmesan cheese quite regularly for, spaghetti and raviolis and vegetable dishes and all sorts of things. But I got this because they were out of regular, just plain Parmesan. And now I kind of prefer this over just Parmesan. It still has Parmesan in it. It's Parmesan, Romano, and Assaggio cheeses. Next up, we'll go ahead and go into my green bag here. I've got a few of those, although I forgot my other green bag, so I did have to use one plastic bag, which made me a little sad, but overall I'm pretty good with getting the reusable bags and remembering them. That's usually the hardest part, right? First item is some paper towels, and then we also got some Kleenex, because again, it's becoming that time of year where the sniffles happen, so it's good to be prepared, right? In this bag, we also have some kettle-cooked jalapeno chips and some fresh jalapenos. No shortage of these in our house. If you can't tell, we kind of like jalapeno around here. I use it for the white bean chili, and I'm also planning on making some jalapeno poppers this month, so that should be tasty. And just to get the rest of the jalapeno stuff out of the way, at least I think it's the rest of the jalapeno stuff, I'm gonna sneak into my plastic bag back here and pull out not one, but two things of crispy jalapenos. So we have jalapenos in sauce, fresh, crispy, in the chips. And I think actually, now that I think about it, in my cooler bag behind me here, I also have some jalapeno ranch. So quite a bit of jalapeno. But anyways, finishing up this bag, we have some nice mandarin oranges. A nice and easy lunch treat, right? So our plastic bag over here is a bit random. First up is some curry mix. And then next up is some contact solution. I used to wear contacts all the time, and now I mostly wear my glasses, but I'm kind of thinking of switching it up and wearing the contacts again. So I got to get some cleaning solution. Have some craisins. It's a fun thing to add into salads and stuff to kind of perk them up, make them more entertaining to eat. And then we have a big old bag of onions. This will probably last me a month, month and a half, but I'm surprised on how well they keep. You know, some things like potatoes, they start to grow leaves and stuff, stems, within 2 weeks around here, it seems. And for some reason, this brand of onions, they don't bloom for quite some time. So I enjoy this, and they're a great size too, because they're not those big hunkin' onions. And then our last item in the plastic bag is another plastic bag. And this is some epsom salt. I work on my feet quite a bit, and it's nice to soak them after a long day of work. So I don't know if I necessarily believe the epsom salt does anything super special, but these ones have a little bit of oil in them. And the oil actually kind of helps keep my feet less gross, I guess. There's no better way to put it. Kind of helps keep them a little softer. So I approve of the oil Epsom salt combo. We are down to our last bag already, but being the cooler bag, it's got quite a bit in there, so should have at least another 10 minutes of footage, I would think. And first out of our cooler bag is some eggs. Nice classic staple, right? And then I've got some low sugar yogurt. And I think I've mentioned it before, but I'll go ahead and say it again. I really like this Chobani less sugar because not only is it less sugar, but there's no artificial sweetener. And I really, really dislike artificial sweetener. I'd rather things just not be sweet. So this works out for me pretty well. Next up, we have some good old celery. I love me some celery peanut butter sticks. It's kind of a little high on the sugar. Peanut butter isn't the most healthy thing, but it's not a terrible thing. When you add vegetables, you feel like you're being healthy, right? And we also have some cheese. This will get mixed in with the jalapeno popper stuff. And also for the top of chili. And I don't know, I use it quite often. And then next up we have some garlic nuts. This is a good thing for the guy's dinner because I can just cook 1 or 2 of them and make sure that the meal is more filling for him while I try to keep losing weight. It's been a kind of a bumpy journey, but I'm back on track and I'm optimistic that by the time my wedding rolls around, I will be a good size. And let's see here. Next, we have the jalapeno ranch that I already told you about. And I think, probably, hopefully, and this is the last jalapeno thing. Wouldn't want to bore you with too many spicy peppers. We've got some cream cheese. This is kind of a core ingredient to jalapeno poppers. Kind of helps bind everything together. So I use it in the filling. And then we have butter, which, it's just a staple. I use it in everything. Probably more than I should, if we're really being honest. Boy, I don't know about you, but I'm actually starting to get a little hungry. I did my shopping trip before lunch, which is always a bad choice. And then my neighbor upstairs came home and started stomping around, so I couldn't get to the grocery haul right away, because I try to get it as quiet as I can for everybody, right? So it's nice and relaxing. So I've been waiting a little too long to eat. So I'm looking forward to frying up some vegetables and bacon soon. But in the meantime, we still have food to put away. And right now I have 3 things of ground beef. I'm going to have tacos one night, spaghetti, and then meatloaf. So 3 seemed like a good number to have. Let's see what's next. Looks like we've got the classic bacon. I upped my order this month. I usually get 1 pound, and I got 1.5 pounds, or more precisely 1.53 pounds of pepper bacon. And it's funny, I complain about this every time. The people always wrap my bacon weird, right? Well, I'm standing in line waiting for my bacon, and the guy ahead of me orders bacon, and the lady wraps it up, grabs it in one even chunk. It's beautiful, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get me some well-wrapped bacon. And as you can see from this package, that wasn't the case. I think asking for 1.5 pounds maybe threw her off or something, but it's a big jumble in there, and this is a very wide package considering how much food is actually in there. All right, let's move right along here. And next up, oh man, so we weren't done with the jalapeno. I decided to forego the kielbasa this month because I bought a lot of it last month. I did a Sam's Club trip kind of in between my grocery hauls because that's just the way life worked out. And I bought a 4-pack of the kielbasa, so we've been eating quite a bit. So I was like, no kielbasa. And then my brain went, but sausage is so easy to cook, and it's usually low carb. So I ended up getting these smoked sausages that have jalapeno in them. So this should be, I think this is the end of the jalapeno stuff. I think. I know I've said that before, but this time I'm like 85% sure. So next up is some riced veggies. I got 2 kinds here. I got the one that has the risotto. There we go. I can say that word in melody. It just means they added some asparagus and mushroom in there. And then this one's more of like a stir fry mix because it has the peas and green onion and everything in it. And this is all of the frozen vegetables that I have on the grocery haul. Not because I've been eating less frozen vegetables, but because that Sam's Club run that I told you about, I bought 2 huge, and we're talking huge bags of frozen veggies because I've just been eating so many of them. So I have one that's like the spaghetti squash, not spaghetti squash, zucchini and squash mix that I use instead of spaghetti noodles. And then one that just has kind of the more classic stir fry thing. But these are kind of good because it's just a different texture. It's little tiny bits of vegetable. And I wouldn't say that it's comparable to rice in my mind. I don't tell myself that I'm eating rice because then I'll be sad. But it is a good way to change up the whole frozen veggie situation. Just for reference, I pulled out the smaller of the 2 bags of vegetables that I got at Sam's Club, just so you could see how hunkin' this thing is. And this is the small one. But it has the noodles, the veggie noodles, in these little, they call them nests. They're kind of just wrapped up in each other. And there's far less liquid, because you may recall I was buying the Green Giant brand that was like single serving in a bag. It was like $3 a bag, and I kept going, I need to find a different solution. Well, I found a different solution, and this stuff is actually way better, because the other kind I was getting, it was meant to be steamed in bag, and I think they add extra water for the steaming, when really vegetables tend to have enough moisture on their own anyways. So this will probably be a main component of my lunch that I will be cooking myself as soon as we're done here. After all those veggies, let's go ahead and change things up with some string cheese. For once, the big pack was more cost effective than the little pack. I always try to pay attention to the per ounce price, because sometimes those grocery stores are a little tricky, and the small one will be a better deal. And then after that, we've got some half and half, because I drink lots and lots of coffee, which requires lots and lots of half and half, right? And then we're down to our very last item, which is some beef ravioli. I believe last month I bought a different kind of ravioli, and it was like the fresh kind. So it was in the refrigerator aisle instead of the freezer aisle. And I thought it would be better, but honestly, the stuff that I bought last month doesn't compare to this stuff. Like, I'm guilty of, like, I buy it so that it's something easy that I can make the guy, right? Because I get Sam's Club giant jars of tomato sauce, right? But then I end up eating a couple because they're, I don't know. I know they're junk food, more or less. The meal equivalent of junk food. But I like them. So I'd recommend this brand, Rosetto. So that does mean that we are now all out of groceries. With a little bit of luck, I'll be putting together a small bonus video this month. September was kind of full of activities, right? I did my wedding dress shopping, and we actually bought a dress. Oh my goodness. That wasn't the plan at all. So I may share a few pictures of the dress trying thing. And also, as an early birthday gift, my birthday's here in October, but last month, my soon-to-be sister-in-laws paid for a trip to Monterey Bay, where we did an overnight sleepover at the aquarium. It was their first ever 21 and over sleepover. So that was a lot of fun, and I did grab some footage. The sound isn't good enough on its own. I don't have, my main camera is a GoPro, and they're not known for their audio capabilities. So I'm going to try to like throw some of the video together and do a voiceover and kind of just talk about my life for a little bit. Because I think some of you are interested, oddly enough. I have a few very dedicated watchers, and shout out to all of you. Honestly, we're over 200 subscribers, which I never thought would happen. Because I kind of just, I don't know, when I first started doing the videos, I was just talking to the void, you know? And it was kind of more just for me to express myself in a different way, because, you know, I do the art and I do cake decorating, and I'm always putting my finger in a lot of different pots, so to speak. But it feels like this is kind of ticking off, which is weird. It really is. With that, we of course thank some of our commenters. So shout out to Kyla Smith and FBI agent something. Let me get the numbers for you. FBI agent 557. Thank you for commenting, and I'll see you guys hopefully very soon. Hopefully. I'm gonna try for more videos, but I make no promises. With that, I hope you have a wonderful night. Goodbye.